Garden of Vyn's residence. On the morning after a long rain, the refreshing scent of foliage does wonders to wash away your restlessness. Holding a package that just arrived, you stride into the back garden and search for the figure tending to the greenery. Are you busy? There's a package for you. One moment, I will be right over. You hear rustling from the bushes, and Vyn steps out from a pile of widely scattered leaves. Your clothes? What happened? His white sweater vest is covered with pieces of the leaves he snipped while pruning. Rather than tending to his garden, he looks more like he's been lurking around the yard in camouflage. After a brief moment of silence, Vyn looks down at himself and shakes his head helplessly. I was a little too hasty while pruning earlier. He brushes his leaves a few times as he speaks, and pieces of leaves fall off him, fluttering down one by one. Even so, Vyn is clearly embarrassed after spotting the leaves and twigs still stuck on his clothes. Let me help. You move closer and help Vyn clean the leaves off. You don't look like you've been gardening. You look as if you've just gotten back from an adventure in the woods. If we weren't at your house right now, I would have asked if you dug up any treasure. If only. But on the contrary, I am afraid I am just like the hero from the forest song. Not only did I fail to find any treasure, but I also got trapped in the bushes. Well, aren't I here to save you? Lifting Vince's arm, you brush off the pieces of leaves still stuck to his cuffs and gaze at him, puzzled. And what's forest song? It is a Spartan fairy tale. In the story, a young boy named Hans heads into the woods in search of treasure. However, he eventually vanished deep within the forest. I have been studying rare plants found in Swart recently. Some of the related words reference forest song. I was reminded of it when you mentioned digging for treasure just now. Alright, enough about stories for now. Where is the package you wanted to hand me? Oh, here. After handing the momentarily ignored package to Vyn, you move to his side and continue picking some small leaves off his back. Looks like whatever he was planting must be pretty rare. He doesn't usually get this excited while gardening. Huh? You are almost done cleaning Vyn off when a small green leaf clinging to his collar catches your eye. It's best to prune leaves with large, quick motions. As a result, most of them get cut into shapeless pieces. But surprisingly, the small green piece is cut into a heart. What a curious coincidence. You gently pick up the leaf. As you are about to share this discovery with Vyn, he suddenly turns around with a smile. They are finally here. As he says this, he pulls out two pieces of paper from a file pouch and hands them to you. You look down to see the words Botanical Garden Ticket printed on them. Woodland Pavilion? Yes, it is a new botanical garden in Stellis that just opened. My friend is running it. We will be researching methods to improve the aroma of sandalwood vine together, so he invited me to visit his botanical garden to pick up some materials. Sandalwood vine? It is what I was planting earlier. Let me show you a picture. Vyn leads you over to the bench to sit down and picks up the tablet on the table. After tapping on it a couple of times, he holds out a picture for you to look at. The picture depicts a dark flower hanging off a wooden frame. Vines weave behind the flower, the green strands dotted with leaves and buds. It looks similar to Morning Glory, but is much more extravagant and its petals look fuller. Sandalwood vine is a rare flower unique to Swart. It has a very high aesthetic value. Its only downside is the intolerably pungent odor it emits when the calyx is forming. Pungent odor? Pungent odors are not exactly uncommon in the plant world, but more people would be willing to grow sandalwood vines if we could improve it through research. I see. So you decided to plant some sandalwood vine here at home since you're researching how to improve its scent? Yes, that is partially why. The other reason is that sandalwood vine means unexpected surprise in the language of flowers. I was once very curious to know why it meant unexpected surprise. Now that I have the chance, I would like to see for myself. And if it is actually true, I should gain some unexpected. No? So, it's a surprise. No wonder you were so excited. Excited? What makes you say that? You smile, pulling out the heart-shaped leaf you just found. You then place it in his palm. Because you've never been as carefree as you are now. Vyn seemingly realized that you're teasing him about the way he looked just now. His lip curved into a smile, and he gently turns the leaf over in his palm. His pale fingertips caress the heart-shaped leaf. The sun peeking through the shadows casts a golden warmth on both the leaf and his skin. So, are you going to tell me what kind of surprise you're waiting for? The surprise I am waiting for? Yeah, it's going to be a while before the sandalwood vine blooms. I might be willing to grant you a surprise wish before that. Upon seeing you pointing at yourself confidently, is unable to hold back a smile and he puts the heart-shaped leaf back in your palm. He then rubs his hands around your own, slowly closing them. Can I wish for anything? Huh? The temperature of the cool leaf quickly rises thanks to the warmth of your palms. Similarly, the sweet floral infused air between you two slowly begins to heat up with your breath. You just said that you would grant me a wish. It has not even been a minute yet. It was not enough time to make a wish. You cannot go back on your word so quickly. Going to back on my word? Just tell me. Perhaps due to your closeness, the floral aroma diffused by your body heat warmly tugs at your heartstrings. Vyn still holds your hand in his, lowering his head and thinking for a moment. Just as he opens his mouth to speak, his wish is interrupted by his vibrating phone. Please wait a moment. Vyn clears his throat. After quickly getting his emotions in check, he answers the call as if nothing happened. Hello? Yes, I have received the tickets. There will be children visiting. No problem. It will not be an issue. The phone call was quite short as Vyn hangs up after a short exchange. Was that your friend who runs the botanical garden? Yes, he was telling me a few things about admission. Noticing that Vyn seems to be brooding, you can't help but laugh. You smile and reach out to hold his face in your hands. It's alright, even though your wish got interrupted just now, you can still make one. So tell me, what do you want to wish for? In that case, I wish for us to go to the botanical garden tomorrow and collect samples together. Collect samples? Yes, we will need an odorless tropical flower and a fully grown sandalwood vine to research how to improve its scent. Vyn picks up the two tickets, rubbing the garden logo printed on the corner between his fingers. As I said before, you might encounter several plants with unpleasant shapes or smells during the collection process due to their unique characteristics. I cannot guarantee that it will be an absolutely perfect experience. But I would still like to invite you on this journey with me due to my own selfish desires. Of course, I love to. You smile and take your ticket from Vyn, pointing at the word sensational signs printed on it. Visiting the botanical garden like this makes me feel like we're venturing into the unknown. It could get boring if all we see are the beautiful plants we'd expected. Besides, you leave the heart-shaped leaf in your palm again. The one school leaf has already gone warm in your grasp. You got covered in leaves when you were pruning the sandalwood vine, but a really special coincidence happened because of it. Who knows? Maybe the growing sandalwood vine might bring us a surprise after all. Botanical garden entrance. The next morning, you pull Vin out of bed bright and early, full of excitement for the so-called surprise. But after you drive to the botanical garden, the crowded scene before you transform the surprise you were anticipating into something simply unexpected. Kindergarten kids are being guided back and forth between pavilions, the sound of their laughter filling the air. The tropical plants hortorium that you were planning on visiting is also packed. I just asked my friend. He said the tropical plants hortorium can only accommodate a limited number of people per group. We can go in with the next batch. After putting away his phone, Vin looks over at the kids playing happily and softly shakes his head. He did mention yesterday that a kindergarten would be having a field trip here today. I was just not expecting it to be so crazy. Looks like it's field trip season already. A lot of kindergartens in Stelis have field trips organized for the entire school. Your gaze passes over the kids playing in front of the various pavilions, then stops at the nearby playground. Their youthful laughter warms your memories. Upon seeing your smile grow as you sink into your memory, Vin smirks and gently taps the top of your head with his phone. What is on your mind? I'm thinking about the field trips I went on when I was little. Judging by that happy smile on your face, your field trips as a kid must have been fun too, right? Yeah, my school had us visit most of the interesting scenic spots in Salis, but the best one was. You are suddenly in high spirits, excited to tell Vin about your memories. However, you stop talking the moment you look at him. He doesn't seem to notice the abrupt halt in your speech. Vin is simply holding onto his phone and looking into the distance with a slightly empty gaze. His eyes are transfixed on the small groups of kids playing on the seesaws under the shade of trees. The silence nearly stretches on for a minute before he turns around and looks back with an inquiring gaze. My apologies, I got distracted just earlier. Oh, right, Vin went to a prestigious school when he was younger. Did he never get the chance to do something like this? Why don't I take this chance to experience it with him? With that, you step forward to slip your arm under his and walk toward the only empty seesaw on the playground. I wanted to tell you about the best part of my field trip, but now that I think about it, it would be better if I just show you. And there just so happens to be an empty seesaw here, so we can relive the experience together. But this is a children's playground. Two adults like us. We're just reminiscing about our childhood. It's fine. Vin looks embarrassed, but he doesn't say anything else. He allows you to pull him over to the seesaw and sits down on the left side. You walk to the right, settle yourself in a good position, and lift Vin up. You are so good at this. Did you play on this often when you were little? Of course, kids in Salis wouldn't miss an opportunity to play on this. Isn't it fun? What? Before you can react, Vin shifts backward without any warning, lifting you up in the blink of an eye. He quickly leans on the armrest, calmly watching you. It is very fun, but I didn't play on them very often, so finding the right spot takes a little skill. I found it pretty quickly earlier because I got lucky. Really? Vin slowly shifts around in his seat. After some time, he succeeds in gently lifting you up. It looks like it really does take some skill. I have not played on seesaws much, but I must have some talent for it since I got the hang of it quite fast. It's just a seesaw, you're exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating, but a light breeze passes by, tousling the whips of hair over Vince's forehead. He stops speaking and reaches up to smooth it down. He straightens out his hair to reveal a bright smile and a profound look in his eyes. You can't help feeling like he can see right through you. It is a wonderful to reminisce about our childhoods together. You slowly descend until you and Vin are balanced. He leans on the armrest and looks up at you, his bright eyes full of happiness and a hint of gratitude. Huh? Two grown-ups are playing on the seesaw. Before you know it, several kindergarten kids surround the seesaw and look up at you with wide eyes. Hey, mister, miss, do you guys like the seesaw? I do, because you can learn how to fly by playing on the seesaw. I never played on them when I was little. Vin suddenly looks up at you with the eyebrows somewhat raised. It seems as if an idea is taking form in his mind. So, this nice lady is helping me learn. That way, she can take me to the botanical garden later to catch pixies. Wow, learn to fly and catch pixies? What? Why are you so surprised? We were learning how to fly and land together just now, no? The kids all turn to look at you with astonishment in their gazes. Vin looks pleased with his successful prank and you can't stop yourself from playing a trick against him. Yeah, I was practicing how to fly with him just now. We should show everyone what you learned, right? Huh? Why are you so surprised? Just do exactly what you practiced. Up, up, and away! Vince's eyebrows suddenly raise. After a short pause, he swallows the words on the tip of his tongue and silently rises. Great, now it's time to land. He then quietly sits down again with a downward push of your hand. Perhaps it's the blessing of the warm sunlight, or the floating petals, or perhaps it's Vince's light and beautiful movements. The surrounding children all exclaim, seemingly believing your story. They excitedly scramble over to the other seesaws, wanting to try it out for themselves. You watch the last two children run off. Just as you are about to shoot with a smug look to flaunt your ability to captivate a crowd, the seat under you suddenly rises up again. Eh? Sorry, I am a little tired from flying. I needed to calm down and rest for a bit. Vin teases you jokingly and you can't help but smile. You're messing with me. You knew what I was thinking from the beginning. Your plan was practically scrawled on your face. Then, did I look really childish earlier? Of course not. Children are not the only ones who can be healed by fairy tales or playground. That is why you brought me over to try out the seesaw, right? Nearby, a kid wraps his arms around a flowering tree and shakes it. Fallen petals rain down on you two for a moment. After hastily brushing the petals off your head and body, you look at the other end of the seesaw again. The petals stuck behind his glasses are hard to brush off, so Vin simply takes them off and still keep his gaze trained on you. The shadow of the trees, scattered leaves and petals, and sun rays peeking through the gaps between the branches hanging like a curtain between you two. Even so, the passion and anticipation in your cases are diminished in the slightest, completely connected with one another. I really didn't think too much about it. I just did it without thinking.
그래도 전 이 느낌이 좋아요. 정말 새롭게 느껴졌거든요.
Time seems to slow down as if following the steady rhythm of the rise and fall of the seesaw. The waves that stirred in your heart gradually subside. As you look at each other tenderly, it's as if you're sinking back into your childhoods while simultaneously sinking into the deep ocean of each other's eyes.
제가 했던 동화 이야기 아직 기억하나요?
Are you talking about Forest Song? Vin laughs softly, then lowers his gaze, as if he's both remembering the story and mulling something over.
그 이야기에서 호루스는 숲을 탐험하러 갔다가 하늘을 나는 법을 배우던 꽃의 요정을 만났어요. 하늘을 제대로 날지 못하던 꽃의 요정은 어쩔 수 없이 땅에 바짝 붙어서 연습하는데 그러면서도 넘어지기 일쑤였죠. 몇 번을 그렇게 반복하자 호루스는 마침내 용기를 내 꽃의 요정에게 도움의 손길을 내밀었어요.
Vin suddenly rises his gaze to look at you as he speaks, leaning in ever so slightly.
그리고 이렇게 말했죠. 네가 원하는 대로 날아봐. 내가 받아줄게.
Huh?
지금 당신이 마침 하늘을 날고 있네요. 제대로 못 내려오겠으면 제 손을 잡아요. 언제든지 받아줄게요.
A gust of warm wind blows by as he reaches out, causing your heart to flutter. You know you can't avoid Vin's sweet invitation, so you hold back a smile as you lean over and take his soft, warm hand. After getting down the seesaw, Vin's friends calls to let you know that you can head into the tropical plants hortorium. We should go. We have some pixies to catch. The kids are all gone. Why are you still trying to sell that story? You both draw closer to each other as conversation continues and he takes your hand. Because both children and our own dreams need nurturing. Tropical Plants Hortorium. Before you walk into the garden, Vin mentions that the venue underwent some renovations for the field trip season, so things would be a little different from the normal experience. However, you weren't expecting the newly renovated Tropical Plants Hortorium to be so childlike. The Tropical Rainforest Pavilion comprehensively simulates the features of a tropical rainforest, including the high temperatures and rainfall. But isn't this rain a little too heavy? You take out a tissue and wipe down Vin's wet glasses and hair while you read out what was on the pavilion bulletin board in slight resignation. Upon entering the pavilion, artificial rain pours down on you before you can even finish reading the sign. Even though Vin quickly pulls out the provided umbrella and holds it over your head, his hair still gets wet due to it being too small. Looks like they took children's preferences into account when designing this place, but the umbrella is quite small. After putting his now dry glasses on, Vin looks up at the sprinklers on the dome-shaped ceiling and compares them to the size of the umbrella provided by the garden. This umbrella could cover 3 children at most. As for us two, we will have to get creative. Yeah, we have to look for odorless flowers later after all. It might be tough to find them in the rain. As you two chat, a few groups of kids run past you laughing. Vin's gaze falls on them, and his gaze trails after them as they disappear at the end of the path. You place the tissue you used to wipe down Vin's hair in your bag. You voice your thoughts as you watch the kids run away. I'm jealous of those kids. Four of them could fit under one umbrella if they tried. We could also try. Huh? Try what? Vyn grabs your hand and pulls you back without explanation. He then walks behind you and presses up against your back. As you snap back to reality, Vyn's voice and breath simultaneously float into your ear, making the air hum. We can walk like this too. Huh? Vyn holds you in his arms, and the small umbrella just barely covers your heads. The chill you felt from the heavy rain earlier slowly vanishes, possibly due to the shared body heat radiating from your closeness. It feels like Vyn is holding me while we're walking. Seems like the facilities in this pavilion were all specially designed for kids, judging by how much fun they are having. When in Rome, do as the Romans do, right? A thought pops into your head just as you realize that it feels like Vince embracing you from behind as you walk. But don't we need to look for tropical odorless flowers? Wouldn't it be hard to find them like this? It should not be too hard since we can seal the ground. I don't think that's going to work. Here, let me hold the umbrella so you can focus on finding the flowers. Just as you're about to take the umbrella from Vin, he suddenly turns around and encases you in his arms. More rain showers down on you, but neither of you gets wet this time thanks to your tight embrace. It looks like we need to get even closer. How about this? Vin holds onto the handle of the umbrella with you as he speaks. His other hand gently wraps around your waist, pulling you closer to him. We can walk like this. You hold the umbrella and I will hold the flowers. Okay, leave it to me. Walking becomes much easier with this method. Even with the heavy rain, you manage to remain blissfully dry as you weave through the surrounding crowd of children. However, you seem to be hitting a dead end when it comes to your search for odorless flowers. Are these no good either? No, they still have a slight fragrance, though it is not very apparent. There is a small cluster of flowers over there. Shall we go have a look? After squeezing back under the umbrella, you lead Vin toward the small patch of flowers near the exit. But at this moment, the sound of hurried footsteps and youthful shouts quickly approaches. One of the children's feet slip as he runs by with his friends. He lets out a surprised yelp and trips, falling towards you. Watch out! Before you can even react, Vin quickly turns sideways and reaches out to the child, supporting him and falling with him into the flowers. Are you alright? The kid looks scared, only staring at you two in silence. Even so, he didn't hit the ground, so he is thankfully mud-free. His friends come over looking for him shortly after. They apologize to you and bring him away. I'm glad nothing happened. Are you okay, Vin? Did you get hurt from the fall just now? I am fine. Hang on. What? In complete contrast to his somewhat embarrassed expression just now, Vin's voice almost sounds surprised. Vin digs out a small hole in the dirt along the pathway, right beside where he fell while holding the kid. A small red flower pokes out of the center of the hole, teetering to the side. Could you take out a tissue and lay it flat in your hand? Alright. You do as Vin asks, then stand quietly and wait as he gets to work. Vin moves forward carefully, lifting up the small flower's drooping bloom with his fingertips. He then scooped out the dirt under it little by little with his other hand. A few minutes later, a bright red flower falls into your hand along with a handful of soil. This. You are left astonished for a moment before suddenly realizing something. You lean in for a sniff, and a joy instantly fills your heart. It doesn't have a fragrance. It's the tropical odorless flower we've been looking for. I thought the sandalwood vine you just planted would only bring us something unexpected. I didn't think that there would be a surprise within the unexpected. After smiling at one another with an understanding look, you cover the roots of the small flower you found with soil and walk toward the exit. Botanical Garden Restaurant. The last step before completion is to get the fully grown sandalwood vine flowers. However, you aren't able to easily make your way to the rare plants hortorium after leaving the tropical plants hortorium. Instead, you head to the Botanical Garden Restaurant. Both you and Vyn forgot about the artificial rain since you were near the exit. By the time you realized your mistake, Vyn's hair had already gotten soaked in his effort to protect the odorless flower he was holding. Here, you can use this towel to dry your hair. Would you like some ginger tea? We can bring it over to you later. Here, I'll have one. Thanks. After letting out a long sigh, you grab two towels and sit next to Vyn somewhat worriedly as you place a towel on his head. Still cold? Did you catch a cold? I'm fine. Ah. Vyn shivers mid-sentence. Feeling a little sorry for him, you wipe his head down with a towel. Should we just head back early? No need. The temperature here is very comfortable, and Vyn gently places his hands over yours on the towel, then intentionally leans in so you can have an easier time drying the back of his head. Are you done drying me off? It should be fine now. As you finish drying Vyn's hair, you take the towel off and finger comb his hair to smooth it down. Well, we can't get careless. That employee is going to bring some ginger tea over in a bit. You better drink it all. Understood. I will drink it, and you... It's a lady who can catch pixies. Huh? Now that it's almost lunchtime, the kids on the field trip are being brought into the restaurant in groups, all ready to enjoy their handmade mochi. A few of the kids you met near the seesaw are in the next group being brought into the restaurant. They greet you warmly. Hi guys, sit down and get ready to eat. You put away the damp towel in response to the kids' greetings. As you raise your eyes, you discover that Vyn had sat up at some point and is now looking at you with a half smile on his face. Looks like those kids like you. Isn't that a good thing? Vyn smiles but doesn't respond. He simply lowers his head, puts on his gloves, and picks up a ball of mochi and starts kneading it slowly. You can't help but feel worried when faced with his silence. Is he upset because the kids interrupted what he wanted to say? You quietly pick up your gloves and put them on. Meanwhile, you lean in close to Vyn's ears. The kids might like me, but I like you. Vyn's hand stops moving and he looks up at you with a faint smile. Really? How much do you like me? So much that I can't quantify it with numbers. There are other ways to quantify it. I am not picky. Just as Vyn is talking, the staff comes over and places a hot cup of ginger tea beside your table. Your ginger tea is ready. I'll leave it here for you. Thank you. Perfect timing. Quick, have some tea. That is not important. Please tell me your answer first. The indifference and desolation you just saw on Vin's face are now nowhere to be found. It's as if they simply vanished without a trace. With that, a thought slowly arises in your mind. You were only pretending to be upset just now, right? Not at all. Your attention was drawn away from me, which was a little disappointing. Still, stop attempting to avoid the question at hand. Vin can no longer hide his triumphant smile. That's when you realize that he's teasing you. Not avoiding it. Why don't you guess? Upon realizing that you aren't going to keep falling for it, Vin smiles and decides to quit while he still has the upper hand. He then picks up some mochi balls and puts them in your hands. Man, this guy. Deep in thought, you start molding the mochi in your hands into little animals. After you finish shaping your last white mochi ball into a goose, you clap your hands in satisfaction and turn to see Vin's finished products. Vin, how are your mochi balls coming along? Huh? The kids nearby can't help but glance over after hearing your sudden exclamation, their eyes widening just like yours. For a moment, similar cries of amazement can be heard one after another. The handmade meal that Vin is putting the finishing touches on is actually a yard, complete with both a fence and a cottage. Even the most dazzling mochi masterpiece in the restaurant would pale in comparison to this little cottage. Did you play with modeling clay a lot when you were little? No, but I sometimes make use of similar toys to spark conversation with your children just comes to the clinic. Vin rolls the last blue mochi ball in his hand into an oblong shape and molds it to look like a chimney. He then places it on the roof of the house. With that, the little mochi cottage is complete, and the onlooking kid surrounds you too. But a little boy suddenly raises his hand to ask a question. Mister, why is the yard so empty? Aren't you gonna put any trees? What about a doggy to wash the house? Several kids who have the same question in mind focus their attention on Vin. Because this lady and I are building this home together. Huh? Vin adjusts his glasses, gazing at you with anticipation. He then looks over at the goose, tiger, and chubby little pig you made. Yes, I wanted to build this home together. He repeats himself, putting a slight emphasis on the word together. I see. As the kids watch unexpectedly, you hurry to place the little animals you made in the yard one by one. Now the little pig, tiger, and goose can all live happily ever after. Wow! How cute! You softly rub the goose's head. The expressions of surprise and admiration on the kids' faces make small fireworks bloom in your heart. It isn't because you won their compliments with your own craftsmanship. Rather, it's because you and Vin built this little home together. That goose is so cute. I want one too. I want a hippo. The kids continue to stare at your small home longingly, refusing to budge despite the repeated calls of their teacher in charge. It looks like the kids already want this little house, but they need to go eat first. You think for a moment, then hold the goose up in front of your mouth. You pinch your throat to make your voice sound more like a goose than speak. A goose friend and a hippo friend. But I can't play with them now. Why not? Because I'm waiting for you guys to build houses for them too. I can go play with them after their houses are all done. Dad, we have to build a house for the hippo right away. can make a chicken and a doggy too. Let's go! Faced with this new goal, the kids all excitedly rush over to their chairs and get right to work. A sense of relief finally washes over you. Just then, you hear the sounds of soft laughter. I am laughing. I am not laughing at you. I just thought that you are getting better and better at handling children. Still, those two lines of yours were only ever meant for the children. Will you not say something special just for me? You're not a kid. But I was just rained on, so I have no appetite. I am going to need something to get me going if I am to eat this much mochi. But if you really do not wish to... He lowers his head, picking up a dog you made and gazing at it. I suppose I could force myself to eat it. Even though Vyn appears calm, the 4 words "I won't eat you" are practically written on his face. There is some leftover white and orange dough in your hand. You roll your sleeves up and begin to knead it. After a moment, a rabbit and a carrot take shape in your hands. Okay, how's this? You remove the carrot from the rabbit and put it to Vyn's lips with a smile. Not expecting this, Vyn smiled helplessly after a moment of confusion. You're right, this much mochi can be a little hard to stomach, but a small carrot like this should be easy enough, right?
그렇긴 하지만 아직도 뭔가 부족한 것 같아요.
Vyn glances at the small carrot in your hand, then turns to face you. His hot breath blankets your fingertips, gradually and unmistakably heating them up.
짤막한 이야기가 더해진다면 훨씬 기대될 것 같은데요. 정말 다시 한번 연기를 보여줄 순 없나요? 방금 아이들에게 해줬던 것처럼.
But a carrot is an inanimate object. How am I supposed to imitate it?
당신이 절 위해 준비한 거라면 뭐든지 소중히 받아들일 거예요. 상상력을 마음껏 펼쳐봐요.
Faced with Vyn's expectant gaze, you can only lean in close and whisper in his ear with a soft voice. Mr. Carrot says you need to eat up. You'll feel better after you finish eating.
그럼 제가 괜찮아진 다음에는요?
Huh?
제가 괜찮아지고 나면 기대한 만큼 이 집의 여주인이 제게 더 많은 이야기를 들려줄까요?
Passionate words bubble up in your mouth. Only when you feel they are about to scorch your throat and mind do you softly voice your answer. Yes, as long as you get well soon. Finally satisfied with your answer, Vyn smiles and looks at the carrot in your hand as you slowly move away.
고마워요. 당근도 그리고 당근을 흉내내준 당신도.
His burning gaze shoots through your fingertips, igniting the desire in your heart and causing it to grow.
다 정말 사랑스럽네요.
Rare Plants Hortorium. You take your time enjoying lunch together. It is already afternoon by the time you head over to the Rare Plants Hortorium to look for a fully grown sandalwood vine. Even though it's bright outside, you lose your sense of sight for a moment when you walk into the dark pavilion. It's so dark in here. To better display the features of the rare plants, all natural light in the pavilion has been blocked out, creating a dark and silent atmosphere. As you walk through the pavilion, there are virtually no sounds other than your footsteps. There are no kids in here. I believe it could be because the attributes of the plants in this pavilion are not very suitable for kindergarten kids. Good point. Kids might not be able to handle the scents of the plants down here, after all. The rare plants horarium is filled with strange plants. Even adults are required to undergo a physical examination before going inside, so the garden would need to be even more cautious with visiting children. We may be the first ones to set foot in this mysterious forest. Following closely behind Vyn, you step into the dim greenhouse. The interior temperature of the greenhouse is slightly colder than the outside, presumably to create a suitable environment for these rare plants to grow in. Gently rubbing your arms, you look at your surroundings and are surprised to discover several spots of light slowly moving through the air behind a few trees in the distance. Vyn, are those fireflies? No, it is actually a unique type of plant. Its pollen is luminescent and looks like fireflies in the dark. Here, I will take you to get a closer look. The odor over there might be a bit pungent, so be wary. Taking Vince's outstretched hand, you hold onto his arm and walk over with him. Several spots of light shift under the cover of the dark dome. The two of you head over to the area with the brightest lights. However, due to the unique nature of this garden, the further you move forward, the more your steps slow. Are you okay? Can you handle it? I'm okay. Is this what a sandalwood vine callus smells like? You can't seem to block out the pungent odor by covering your nose. Even keeping your eyes open becomes difficult. Vyn. Unable to sense the smell, you can't help but pinch your nose, coughing a few times. Vyn laughs softly as he picks up on your dilemma. He shakes his head and pats your hand comfortingly. Come on, we're almost there. Vyn leads you in, walking closer to the brightest fireflies until you are right under them. Here we are. You can put down your hand and fully experience it. Huh? You look at Vyn with wide eyes as he calmly takes a deep breath. As you're hesitating, you see Vyn wink reassuringly at you. After another pause, you decide to trust him and determinedly put your hand down. You are expecting to recall the smell, but before you can cover your nose again, a sweet scent penetrates your nostrils. There's no bad odor. It actually smells good. Is that a flower? Following the scent, you look up to discover that the dim lights are not, in fact, fireflies. It actually looks just like the picture Vin showed you before, sandalwood vine. Yes, that is a real sandalwood vine flower. Sandalwood vines emit bad odor when its calyx is forming. Most people decide to destroy them at this stage since they cannot stand the stench. But they are unaware that the sandalwood vine would emit a fragrance fitting of its beauty if they only waited a little longer for it to fully bloom. No wonder it means unexpected surprise in the language of flowers. The sandalwood vine already gave you a huge surprise as you walk over just now. As a greenhouse dedicated to sandalwood vine, it showcases the various stages of the plant's growth. The plant's most pungent stage was also the reason you nearly missed out on it. If people simply see the flowers and smell the aroma when it's fully grown, they won't have a very deep understanding of its unexpected surprise. There's a chance it could actually die during the growth process. The first group of gardeners to plant sandalwood vines must have been really surprised while it was growing. Yes, they were probably surprised beyond belief. Thanks to its aroma, beauty, and luminescence, this flower is also known as the pixie of the night in sword. Pixie? You suddenly realize the joke you made before has become a reality. So, we really did come to the botanical garden to catch pixies. But Vin, how are you planning on bringing this sandalwood vine back? We only need to pick 2 blossoms. As if he has already considered this, Vin walks over to look around the shelf. Sure enough, he comes back carrying a stepladder with 3 levels. However, Vin places the stepladder at your feet. He then reaches out and gestures for you to get on. You want me to pick them? Since I am like Hans who was unable to explore the forest, I want to help my fairy practice flying and catch pixies now. Unable to explore the forest? Are you still thinking about what you look like when you're pruning the bushes? Yesterday, I was also thinking about learning to fly together on the seesaw earlier. It seems that the main character in all these fairy tales is Hans, or rather, me. Now, I would prefer a story that features Hans' fairy companion as the main character. You get used to playing Hans pretty fast. But what would the flower fairy, who can't fly very well, decide to do at a time like this? Remembering how Vin purposefully raised you up on the seesaw and had you push him down, an idea pops into your head. You're right, and I'm pretty good at catching pixies. Under Vin's watchful eye, you move up to the 3rd level of the stepladder. You then quickly choose 2 flowers. After carefully picking them, you look down at Vin and reach out. Hmm? It's just, I'm only good at catching pixies. I can't really fly well. Hans, can you catch me again? The stepladder only has 3 levels, so you don't actually need any help, but your smile makes it clear to Vin that you are referencing the story from earlier. Vin chuckles softly and reaches out to you, seemingly satisfied. Although you are only flying from 3 levels up, of course I will. I will help you get down. Whoa! After letting out a yap, Vin's shocked expression only flashes in front of your eyes for an instant. Because the moment he reaches out to you, you take 1 step down and throw yourself right into his arms. Thankfully, Vin reacts just as quickly. He opens his arm, catching you securely and embracing you tightly. You weren't very high up, but perhaps due to the speed of your fall or because of the temperature of his skin clearly rising when your ear is resting, or maybe owing to his heavy breathing, your heart beats wildly when your chest is pressed up against him. Sorry, I'm not very good at flying, so it wasn't a smooth landing. After leaning in and whispering this apology, you kiss Finn's ears. As suspected, his embrace tightens around you. It seemed he barely able to keep up his surface level composure. It is alright. This is not a mistake, in my opinion. Then, what is it? It is the beginning of a new story for the fairy and Hans. His hand gently falls from your back, running along your arm down to your hand, reaching your palm. His fingers slip through yours. Shall we head home? I want to go back and finish writing this story with you. Study of Vin's residence. After coming back from the botanical garden, Vin has been holed up in his study with the scentless flower and sandalwood vine. He has rarely come out except to eat dinner. By your estimations, he's already been in his study for 6 or 7 hours today. Vin, are you still busy? I brewed you some flower tea. We can get ready for bed after you finish it. Vyn finally looks up from his work, perhaps because he smells the fragrant tea. You were able to really bring out its lavender scent. I want you to sleep well tonight, so I gave it my all. You've been so busy, you must have made some progress with your sandalwood vine fragrance research, right? Yes, I just called an expert at the botanical garden to confirm a few ideas. We will start researching together tomorrow at noon. I can't wait to see the new and improved sandalwood vine flowers. Soon after Vin finishes his tea, he then stands up in cup in his hand, get ready to leave the study with you. But when he picks up the saucer, you catch a glimpse of the brand new transparent phone case stuffed between his papers and books. Is that a phone case? Well, putting down his cup and saucer, Vid walks back behind the desk and hands you the already customized phone case. The clear phone case was originally plain, but Vin has decorated it with something that causes your eyes to widen. Is this that heart-shaped leaf from before? You kept it? Yes, I thought this leaf was worth keeping, seeing as it was the starting point of our surprise. Today counts as a surprise? Today's unexpected events, the artificial rain, the fall, and your handmade lunch, all flash through your mind one after another. From what I remember, it seems like there were only a bunch of unexpected incidents. Then take a look at this. Vin places another phone case that still isn't finished in your hand. You realize that the phone case is a perfect match for your phone and it is decorated with a dark heart-shaped petal on the back. The color of this petal looks so familiar. Wait, is it from a sandalwood vine flower? Yes, I just found it when I was organizing my materials. One of the sandalwood vine flowers you picked had a heart-shaped petal. That might be the first unexpected surprise the sandalwood vine brought us. I see. Ooh, matching phone cases. This really is an unexpected surprise. So I believe we can only realize that something is a surprise after it happens. But the elements and conditions that caused them to happen would have fallen in place much earlier. He taps his phone screen gently and looks at the background with a smile. After seeing Vin's expression, you lean in curiously to see his new lock screen. Why did you set that picture as your lock screen? Why not? I think you look really adorable in this picture. I just think it's a little embarrassing. You try to wave away Vin's hand. However, he seems quite satisfied seeing you like this and smiles calmly. His lock screen is a selfie of both of you holding your small animal-shaped mochi balls. Since you had just pretended to talk like an animal to Vin before taking the picture, your face is as red as a tomato. In contrast, Vin has a peaceful smile on his face as if your flushed cheeks didn't affect him in the least. Do you know what the biggest surprise at the end of the day was? You looked away, not responding. Even so, your expression certainly isn't saying, I want to know. But it's no surprise that Vin pretends not to notice your expression and continues talking. It's as if his gentle words are warming your heart. It was realizing that you can conjure up a fairy tale at any time. Of course, you were also able to talk like a carrot. You really are very good. Not giving him the chance to finish his sentence, you push him back into the chair and cover his mouth with your hand. Okay, that's enough. Vin gently takes your hand and holds it in his. He then puts an arm around your waist and pulls you in closer. Guiding you to sit on his lap, Vin holds your fingers in his hand, lowers his head, and kisses them. To be honest, I was never very interested in fairy tales. I only discovered Forest Song by chance. But now, I long to know the ending of this fairy tale. As he says this, a sudden perceived desire fills his crystalline eyes. It is unlike a desire for anything material. You can clearly sense its heat, its intensity. Because what clearly reflects amidst the watery ripples in his gaze is a smile you can't possibly conceal at this moment. Before we sleep, can you tell me the ending to Forest Song? Huh? But I've never read it, and you probably already know its ending, right? He looks up at you, his warm breath slowly inching closer. But I did not like the original ending. I want to change the story with you. Last time, I told you the story up to when Hans caught the little flower fairy while she was practicing flying. I want you to leave the rest to you. Even though Vin only read Forest Song by chance, the story, Hans, and the flower fairy seems to have left a deep impression on him. Maybe he really likes the fairy tale stuff, but perhaps he truly wants both of you to become the part of the story. Okay. As you look into Vin's eyes, you can't help but smile. You are only able to briefly think back on the main story. Thanks to Hans' help, the little flower fairy who couldn't fly very well slowly learned how to fly. Eh? Just as you begin recounting the story, Vin suddenly moves in closer. Vin, how am I supposed to keep talking if you do this? You can continue with the story, however, another surprise might come along too. But now, Your heart begins to beat faster. Warmth and emotion are necessary when telling a fairy tale, so keep going. She slowly learned how to fly, and then, with a soft sigh, you surrender and wrap your arms around Vin's shoulders, no longer hiding the smile behind your words. Sensations of soft, warm touches and scorching breath lingers by your ear and neck. But Vince wishes you softly narrate the story in detail. On the last day of Hans met with the flower fairy to practice, she found him, lifted him up, and slowly flew with him. Scooting up toward Vince's neck, you kissed him back tenderly, revealing the ending to the fairy tale you made for him. They flew out of the forest together and up into the clouds. The flower fairy helped the person who was always there to catch her. She helped her hands to see the vast world. Do you remember the small mochi house we met together at the botanical garden? It seemed like you enjoyed it last time. Would you like to try it again? I was thinking maybe we could use rice cakes instead of mochi to build a castle when we have some time off. That sounds great, but a castle? Are we thinking of the same thing? Isn't it going to be a little too hard? Fret not, I have already watched a tutorial about how to make one. It is not that complex. I will get everything ready in the next few days, but as for the castle's design, I would like to leave that to you. What do you think? Sure, I really like building models and stuff like that. If you have a style you really like or a specific design in mind, just let me know. Okay, I will let you know right away if I have any ideas. I will need to purchase and prepare several of the ingredients beforehand, so I will do so according to your typical preference. I have an idea. I tried a new dish at a dessert shop recently and it was really unique and delicious. Do you think you could replicate it with rice cakes or oyster? Unique and delicious. Sounds like your assessment of this new dish sits that of the decade I previously made. Not at all. In my heart, the desserts you make are in a league of their own. Nothing at the store can even compare to your. Wait, did you just say that on purpose? You caught me. Yes, I did us on purpose. I was looking for your approval. But I am also curious about the flavor you mentioned. How about this? After you are done with work, I will pick you up and take you to that dessert shop. We can research the unique and delicious taste you seek. Vane, can you recommend any flowers that are pretty and can help you feel energized? There are several kinds of flower that fit that description, but are you say asking that because you have been staying up late recently to work again? You caught me. You're way too perceptive. Actually, I haven't been staying up very late. I just haven't gotten much sleep. I am not perceptive. I am simply familiar with your lifestyle. Flowers can only energize you so much. The best solution is still getting ample sleep. If you continue to stay up all night, I will have to come help you catch up on sleep. I know, I don't want you to worry, so I promise not to stay up late anymore. I'm actually almost done with this work, so I'll make sure I get enough sleep. I will hold you to that promise. With that, we have an agreement. The flowers I pick up for you all later will act as a witness to our agreement. You cannot go back on your word now. Would you like fragrant flowers or odorless ones? How about some odorless flowers? I wouldn't want to bother anyone if I put them on my desk at work. Yes, I believe there are several odorless flowers that could help energize you. I will pick out the flowers for you now. I plan on reporting them at home before bringing them to you. I also have some other flowers ready for you at home, so I will bring them along too. Huh, you prepared some other flowers for me as well? Yes, I recently grew a new type of baby grass in a special color, so I wanted to show it to you. I did not mention it before because I wanted it to be a surprise. I think you will like it.